Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to our live lesson for week 7. As you guys can tell, I am feeling much, much better. My voice is back and my energy is back. I think that's the most important thing. This was a really, really bad cold. Um, it wiped out my entire family. My kids got it, my wife got it, and I think I was the last one to get it. It was one of those colds that really targeted my throat. And especially for someone like me who does a lot of recording, it was a tough week because I couldn't really record anything. So I just want to say thank you guys, for all the messages that you guys sent me last week. And I also know that last week, my son was sick and I was here taking care of him. So it was a bit of a rough week last week in terms of the live lesson, but I just want to say thank you guys. And I'm feeling much better. Today we'll have a very good live lesson. And hopefully we could get back on track and have a good lesson together. All right. So this week is our last TED Talk for this winter session. And the TED Talk for this week was about work-life balance. Work-life balance. Now, we talk about work-life balance a lot, it seems like these days. And, I am going through it right now. It has been very difficult to balance work and life, especially with kids. I feel like it's more of a work-life compromise than it is a balance because it is very difficult to balance the two, no matter what. Either you are it's difficult. I guess that's all I gotta say. Anyway, so today, guys, we are gonna get into reviewing the 8 expressions that we covered in Hapa School this week. And if you guys have any questions, you guys can ask your questions in the chat box. We'll spend a little time answering those questions at the very end of today's live lesson. All right. As always, we're going to use the PowerPoint presentation, and you guys hopefully today we won't have any problems with the microphone or anything like that. I made sure that everything is securely uh, but I also have a separate screen up so that we do not have any microphone issues. But if you cannot hear me for any reason, please let me know in the chat box so I could get that fixed right away. Alrighty, guys. Well, let's get started. 皆さんおはようございます。今日はハパスクールウィーク7のライブレッスンとなります。もう声のね、通常の声に戻りました。多分このライブレッスンをね、見てもうわかると思うのですが、風邪もだいぶ、治り、何よりもね、元気になりました。先週は本当に辛かったです。結構ひどい風邪で、家族全員がね、かかってしまい、この風邪は特にね、喉を集中的にね、やられたので、もう1週間以上ずーっと喉が痛く、先週はもうほぼ声が出ない状態でした。そんな中でもね、皆さんライブレッスンを見ていただきありがとうございました。先週はもう本当にね、何から何まで、もうあらゆることがね、起きてしまい、そんな中でもね、ライブレッスンに付き合っていただきありがとうございました。今日はね、また通常通りのライブレッスンとなりますので、また一緒に頑張ってやっていきたいと思います。はい。それでは今日のライブレッスンをスタートしたいと思います。いつもと同じように、スクリーンシェアをしますので、こちらのプレゼンテーション一緒に見ていきながら、一緒に、復習していきましょう。じゃあ今日の、プレゼンの、
不思議ですね。 パワーポイントのプレゼンテーションに切り替えると、なぜかマイクが使えなくなっちゃうんですね。すいません。これはパソコンの機能なんでしょうかね。ちょっとわかんないのですが、まあ、パソコンのマイクを使います。多分パソコンのマイクでもね、問題ないと思います。ごめんなさいね。何なんでしょうね。これもしかしたらちょっとズームのアップデートをしないといけないのか。多分前回も、パワーポイントのプレゼンテーションにね、切り替えた瞬間に聞こえなくなってしまったと思うのですが、ちょっとマイク使いなさそうですね。すいません。じゃあちょっともう一度やり直しです。Okay, here we go. All right, let's see here. Give me 1 second. Right. Okay, there we go. All right, let me try this one more time, guys. Sorry about that. I gotta figure out what's going on here. All right, let's try this one more time. Okay, guys. So our PowerPoint presentation for today is 3 rules for better work-life balance with Ashley Willens. As always, we are going to do our quiz. This quiz, you do not have to answer the questions in the chat box. Go ahead and write your answers in or just say the answers out loud. All right, guys, here we go. 彼はケーキをじっくりと味わいました。He 何々 the cake. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He savored the cake. Very good. Next one. この本は私の人生を大きく変えた。5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This book 何々 changed my life. Significantly changed my life. Very good. Next one. 母は私の様子を確認するために電話をしてくれた。My mom called and 何々 me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My mom called and checked in on me. Checked in on me. Very good. Next one. 象徴的なハリウッドサインを見ました。I saw the 何々 Hollywood sign. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I saw the iconic Hollywood sign. The iconic Hollywood sign. Very good. 計算が合わない。The numbers don't 何々 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The numbers don't add up. Add up. Okay, next one. ストレスが私の心に忍び込んできました。Stress began to 何々 in or my mind. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stress began to creep into my mind. Creep into my mind. 彼は燃え尽き症候群になりました。He experienced 何々 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He experienced burnout. He experienced burnout. 私は英語学習を冒険のように楽しんでいます。I 何々 English like an adventure. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I treat English like an adventure. All right. So, here we go. Let's get started, guys. Add up. Add up. So this is actually a phrasal verb, and it's a good expression to know. Add up has a couple of different meanings, but the main meaning of add up is to calculate the total of 2 or more numbers, right? これは足し算の何々を足すの意味として使われる表現として add up があります。Right? So you could say, can you add up these numbers? ね、この数字というか、これを計算してくれますかの意味合いになります。The numbers on the receipt don't add up. ね、例えば領収書の、ね、計算が合わないというふうに言いたいときに add up を使うことができます。Right? So just remember, add and add up, they essentially mean the same thing. Add up has more of an informal conversational feel to it ね。ここで例えば add up の代わりに Can you add these numbers? These numbers on the receipt don't で、ここでは add up を使わないといけないんですね。で、ちょっとここで区別を、したいのですが、up を入れることによって、全体的の合計っていう意味合いがあるんですね。なので、何かを足す、can you add these numbers っていう使い方をするときは add だけでもいいのですが、these numbers don't add up というふうに使う場合は、ここでは add up 全体的に計算が合わない。ここの up っていうのは全部っていうことが強調されます。Alright? So in this situation, it has to be add up for the second sentence. Okay? So one meaning is to calculate the total of two or more numbers. これが add up の意味合いになるんですね。ここのトータルの部分になります。up を入れることによって the total という部分がしっかりと入ります。up がないと、ただ calculating two or more numbers ただ端数になるのですが、トータルを出す場合は add up. Okay, so this is going to be the key point right here. Number two, to accumulate gradually over time. So we can use the word add up when we are talking about efforts or mistakes. And these are typically the two common situations where add up is used. So when mistakes add up over time, they become big problems. Or efforts. Small efforts add up over time. So maybe what you are doing right now may not show in your progress. You're studying English today, but what you study today isn't going to reflect on your improvement. Not yet, but these things add up. If you study 30 minutes today and 30 minutes tomorrow, and you do that for 1 month and 6 months and 1 year, all those small efforts add up over time and they become something that you can be proud of. All right. So something that accumulates gradually over time, usually with effort and mistakes. ここで特に努力と間違いと一緒に組み合わせて使われるのが add up になります。Okay? Add up. And number three, to seem reasonable to make sense. これね、ハッパスクールのコースに書いていなかったのですが、もう一つは、なんか納得できるっていう意味で使われるんですね。で、結構よく使われる組み合わせが、この否定形の His story doesn't add up. Okay? これ例えば誰かが言い訳をしているとか、let's say somebody is giving you an excuse. They're explaining something that happened. で、こういう事情があって、これとこれとこれがあって、こういうことになりましたっていうのを誰かが説明しているときに、その話が理にかなっていなかったり、筋が通っていなかったり、なんか彼女の話は、なんかおかしい気がするんだよねっていうのを言いたいときに、The story doesn't add up というふうに言うことができるんですね。これは数字を計算するのと同じように数字を計算した場合、例えば2たす3たす5は10ですよね。トータル10のはずなんですけど、2たす3たす5っていうのが11とか8になったときに、これ計算合わないですよね。で、ここの2たす3たす5っていうのは、誰かのストーリーと似ているものなんですよ。2っていうのはこれが起きて、で、3がこれが起きて、5がこう起きました。だったら10になるはずなのに、彼のストーリーを聞いていると、10にならない。なんかずれている。His story doesn't add up というふうに表現することができます。で、これはもちろん肯定的に His story adds up。Her story adds up と使うこともできるのですが、一般的には誰かの話がなんかおかしいなって言いたいときに His story doesn't add up。Her story doesn't add up のように使うことができます。なので、もうちょっと比喩的な意味として The story doesn't add up を使うことができます。 All right. So that's another good way of using it. But mainly we have these three ways that you can use the expression add up. All right. Very good. Let's keep it going. Number 2, creep into. Creep into. Now, when something creeps into your house, when something creeps in to the building, or something creeps into your mind, it means that something happens very slowly, or something becomes noticeable very slowly. And now the key thing here is that it's happening, but you don't really notice that it is happening at first. だから、creep into ね、これ日本語にすると、忍び込むっていう意味になるのですが、何かがゆっくりと静かに気づかれないように入り込んでくるっていうのが、このフレーズのニュアンスになります。Okay? 気づかれないように、気づいたらね、すぐ分かったら creep into ではないんですね。So creep is kind of like a snake coming into your house. Hopefully, you don't have any snakes creeping into your house. I've never had a snake creep in to my house, but maybe if you live in the countryside, you have to be careful because snakes are very quiet. And most of the times, you don't notice that a snake is in your backyard or in your house because they come into your house very quietly without anybody noticing. Okay? So ここは creep into ね、静かにゆっくりと気づかれないように入り込んでくる。なので実際に the snake crept into our house のように使うこともできれば、これっていうのは比喩的な意味として、mistakes began to creep into his work のように、間違いが仕事に忍び込んでくる。So what does that mean when mistakes began to creep into his work? So my wife and I actually had a conversation yesterday, and she was talking about mistakes creeping into her work. Now, she takes a lot of pride in her job, and she hardly ever makes mistakes. I can't even remember the last time she made a mistake because she is the type of person that will double and triple check to make sure that all of her work is correct. And she is a pharmacist, so she has to make sure that the amount of medicine, the dosage is correct. 0.5 millimeters, milligrams, all these little numbers, but she's very, very good about being careful with the numbers. But of course, when you have kids and you don't get proper sleep at night, mistakes sometimes happen. And last couple of weeks, our kids have been sick. They've been waking up in the middle of the night. We have not been feeling good. We have not been getting proper sleep. So for my wife at work, she actually made a mistake. And one of her coworkers pointed out to her that, hey, we, found a mistake in one of the dosages, but no worries, we corrected it. So in her case, a mistake crept into her work because she was tired. So in situations like this, of course, none of us try to make mistakes, and we don't really know when we make mistakes. But especially if you are the type of person who tries really hard not to make a mistake, but maybe because of lack of sleep or because of stress or whatever reason that you are dealing with, the little things can affect your work. Mistakes began to creep into her work because of lack of sleep という感じで使うことができるんですね。はい。And also, negative thoughts creeping into your mind. Negative thoughts creeping into your mind. Okay. So, of course, none of us ever really want to have any negative thoughts, but, especially when you are a parent, you worry a lot about your kids, right? And that's something that I am learning as a father as well. And the other day, I was playing with Micah, who just turned 1 year old. just a little baby. And as he was playing, I picked him up and I heard like maybe like something pop, like your knuckle pop. ポッって音がしたんですよ. And he cried a little bit. And I thought I broke his bone. I wasn't, being very rough or anything like that, but he started crying. I heard something pop. It was right before he went to sleep. So we gave him milk. I put him down and he fell asleep right away. He cried for a little bit, but afterwards he was okay. But I started to worry. Negative thoughts started to creep into my mind. So I started looking at the monitor thinking like, oh my God, did I break his arm? Is he alive? So I was watching him. I was watching the screen because he sleeps in another room and we have a monitor. And I was watching the screen very carefully. I wanted to see him move around a little bit and push off of the hand to make sure that there was nothing wrong with his hand. And he didn't move for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is he alive? So all these negative thoughts started to creep into my mind. Did I break his hand? Is he even alive right now? All these negative thoughts started creeping into my mind. So he woke up the next morning. Everything was okay. He was not even hurt. He woke up smiling and laughing and his hand was okay. So that was just me being over worried and overreacting to the situation. But this is what happens when you're a parent sometimes. But I think it was that popping sound that really scared me. But anyway, negative thoughts creeping into your mind. Just slowly but surely you start thinking negatively. All right. So creep into, a very good expression to know. And creep can be used in many different situations, but for this particular, they creep into something. All right, let's go to the next one. Significantly. Now, this is a word that I use a lot as well. So you may have heard me use this word in various situations. Now, this is a word that can be used in so many different ways. So a versatile word. Now, what it means is that something happens in a big way. It could mean that something is very important, or it could mean that something has a big effect. Okay? 日本語にすると著しく、もしくは大いにを意味する単語で、大きな変化、ね、もしくは重要な変化があることを示すのが significantly になります。で、これ結構いろんな状況で使える便利なフレーズです。So, 例えば、let's say that you have a friend who is learning English, and your friend started taking online English lessons, and maybe after she took online English lessons for a few months, you talk to her in English and you notice that your English got really good. So instead of saying, wow, your English really improved, you can say, wow, your English has significantly improved. So we're not talking about a little bit. If your English significantly improved, it improved a lot. Okay? だからここの大きくね、たくさんを強調する意味として significantly を使うことができます。Your English really improved. Your English has significantly improved. のように表現できます。Okay? Maybe there's a book that you read that significantly changed your life, right? I think we've all read many books in our lives, and there are books or maybe movies that you read or you watched and had a big impact on you. It made the way you think about life. It changed your perspective. Maybe you have a different attitude after reading this book or watching this movie. So if you want to say that a book or a movie or a podcast had a big impact on your life, you can say, this book significantly changed my life. というふうに表現することができます。Or you could just talk about actual space. So if you are living in a small apartment, like a 1 LDK, and you finally move out, you find a bigger place, maybe like a 3 LDK, and there's more rooms and more space, you can say that my apartment is significantly bigger than my older one. というふうに、significantly、本当いろんな状況で使うことができるのですが、ここでの、ポイントは、何かが著しく、もしくは大いに、その変化があることを表す意味として使われます。Alright? Very good. Next one. Iconic. Okay? So, iconic. もともとの言葉は icon. ね。アイコン。日本語でもアイコンって言いますよね。So when you're talking about an icon, it's something that you see that resembles something. It symbolizes something. So when you're talking about something that is iconic, you're referring to something that is very famous or something that is well known. It's something that is recognized by many people, and usually it's a symbol of something. It represents something, right? So, iconic, there are many, many iconic things in this world, but when you come to Los Angeles, especially if you're visiting LA for the first time, many people will go and see the Hollywood sign. Why? Because the Hollywood sign is iconic. It represents Los Angeles. If you are somebody that watches movies, movies are made in Hollywood, and you see this sign all the time. So I saw the iconic Hollywood sign. ね、象徴的なを意味する表現で、ここのキーポイントは、有名で多くの人たちに知られていることになります。Okay? If you watch American TV shows, and even if you don't watch American TV shows, フレンズっていう番組は知ってるはずですよね。テレビ番組を見なくても、フレンズっていうこの番組は聞いたことがあるはず。Why is that? Because Friends is an iconic American TV show. If you are an American person, if you are somebody studying English, if you are somebody that loves watching TV shows, you know Friends. Everybody knows Friends. This is a TV show that represented the United States for a long time. It's an iconic TV show, right? Okay. And last one, you could talk about like characters, right? Mickey Mouse is an iconic character. You might say like Totoro is an iconic character. Doraemon, Anpanman, Superman, Batman. All of these characters are characters that are widely known. So you can use the word iconic to describe these types of character. Okay? 日本語のね、象徴的なを意味するので、そこまで難しい単語ではないかと思います。Next one. Burnout. Okay, so hopefully you are not burned out, but I am assuming at some point in your life, you were burned out. We all kind of get burned out, right? You work too hard and you get tired or you get stressed out. And when you work too much and you become very tired and exhausted and stressed, you can say that you are burned out. Just like this picture right here, your battery is at E. You have about 1% left of your battery and there is just no more energy left in you. You are burned out. Now, the key thing here is typically you are burned out from working too much. Working too much. Okay? で、ここの burnout の、キー部分は、仕事をしすぎて疲れているとか、ストレスを抱えている。この仕事をしすぎているところがキーポイントになります。Okay? 例えば、you can be burned out from taking care of kids.Right? If that is your job, where you are watching the kids and you're taking care of the kids, you can burn out. You're doing the same thing every single day. And if you don't take a break, it is exhausting. I know a lot of parents that experienced burnout from taking care of the kids. I'm sure you guys have also experienced burnout from taking care of kids. So it doesn't just have to be work that you do at the office, but any kind of work that requires your energy and your time. Now, burn out ね。burn は燃えること。So the way I want you to remember this is like a candle ね。A candle burning. And the burning is kind of like your energy. And as it burns, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it hits all the way to the end and there is no more of the candle left to burn and the fire goes out. The fire is like your energy, but the candle keeps getting smaller. And once the candle is out, the fire is out. You have no more energy. So when it burns out, when the fire is gone, your energy is also gone. まあ、こういうイメージですね。キャンドルの、スティックがね、どんどんどんどん小さくなってきて、最終的には火が消えてしまう。This is what it means to burn out. You're exhausted and you're overwhelmed. で、結構、日常会話でよく使われる組み合わせが You experience burnout, you suffer from burnout, or you feel burnout. Experience burnout, suffer burnout, もしくは feel burnout. まあ、この3つの組み合わせで使われることが多いです。多分僕がよく使うのが experience もしくは feel burnout ですね。で、あとは、まあ、例えば、この燃え尽き症候群っていうのを避ける、ね、もしくは防ぐの意味として avoid burnout, prevent burnout この辺もよく聞きますね。で、最後は lead to burnout、まあ、何々をしていると燃え尽き症候群になりますよっていうのを言いたいときに lead to ね。で、そっちのね、lead to は向かっていることを表しますので if you work too much, it can lead to burnout のように表します。Okay? So you can say, he experienced burnout. He suffered burnout. He felt burnout のように使うことができます。Long hours at work can lead to burnout, right? If you work too much every day, if you're working 10 hours a day, 15 hours a day without any breaks, it can lead to burnout. But to prevent burnout, it's important to take breaks, okay? Because we all have to work, but you don't want to burn out. So you want to make sure that you take breaks. Taking breaks prevent burnout, all right? Now, burn out ね、ここでは一言で使われていますが、burn out を2語に分けて使うこともでき、その場合はもうそれを動詞として使うことができるんですね。だから特にアメリカ英語がそういう感じになるのかな。I am burned out ね、B 動詞と組み合わせて I am burned out こういうふうに表現することができます。多分僕もI'm experiencing burnout というよりは日常会話ではI'm burned out のように B 動詞と組み合わせて burn out を2語に分けて使うのが一般的だと思うのですが、これもしかしたらアメリカ英語に近いのかなちょっとわからないのですが、そういう言い方も一般的です。Alright? Very good. Let's go to the next one. Savor. Okay. When you savor something, the key point here is to enjoy something slowly. ゆっくりと何かを味わう。ね、このゆっくりとっていうのが savor のポイントになります。And you are trying to enjoy it as much as you can. You want that moment to last forever, so you're taking it moment by moment. You're taking it very, very slowly. And usually it's used with something delicious like food or drinks, but you can also use it with experience. Okay? で、まあ日本語にすると味わうとか楽しむになるのですが、まあこれはもうね、食べ物とか飲み物をゆっくり味わう。もしくは経験ですよね。を存分に楽しむという意味で、ここのゆっくり何々する、ゆっくりとっていうのが強調されるのが savor になります。Okay? So let's say you come to LA and I take you to In-N-Out Hamburger. And In-N-Out Hamburger is an iconic hamburger shop in California. もうカリフォルニアのハンバーガー屋といえば、In-N-Out。ね、In-N-Out 聞いたことあると思うのですが、もう象徴的なハンバーガー屋さんです。It's my favorite hamburger shop. If you guys ever come to Los Angeles, I will take you to In-N-Out. It is delicious. So, 例えば日本に帰る1日前にIn-N-Outに行ったとしましょう。もう3回目、もうあまりにも美味しくて、帰る前にもう1回食べたいと。And you're eating this hamburger and you're really enjoying it. で、最後の一口。もうこれ食べたら、明日日本に帰る。いつ次食べられるかわからない。You don't know when you're going to eat that hamburger again. So you take that last bite and you savor each bite. もう最後に食べるようにね。もうこれ以降、もしかしたら食べることがないように、その一口一口を味わう。I savored the last bite of the hamburger のように表現することができます。Alright, so savor. Next one, 食べ物だけではなく、you could savor an experience, or you can also savor like a view, right? So let's say you are in Hawaii, or you are in Okinawa, or you are somewhere that has a beautiful, beautiful view of the ocean. And it's sunset. You're watching the sun come down. You're standing at the beach. It's the most beautiful sunset you have ever seen. Now, of course, you can take a picture of the sunset, but instead of taking a picture of the sunset, you just want to savor that breathtaking view. So you just watch it and you just soak in all of that feeling. You are savoring that breathtaking view. もうその瞬間を存分に味わっている。携帯も出さない。写真も撮らない。もう今、この瞬間を楽しむ。Savor. Okay? Sorry, I'm still a little bit sick. And I'm not 100%. I'm about 90% there. So I think the more I talk, it's still irritating my throat just a tad bit, but I'm okay. Baseball player. So maybe you guys have seen this, and maybe a good example is like Koshien, right? Koshien in Japan is a big deal. I know that Koshien usually takes place during the summertime. And for many high school students, Koshien is a once in a lifetime event. It's do or die, especially if you are an older kid on the team. That could be your last time playing baseball with your teammates. So as a baseball player playing at a Koshien game, you try to savor that moment because you know that you will never experience that kind of game ever in your life. Even when you become a professional baseball player, there is nothing like playing a baseball game at a Koshien. So you can see all of the players really savoring the moment, and they're playing their hearts out, and you could see the energy and the emotion and the passion coming out. And when they win, the kids are super excited. But when they lose, you can see that they're sad and frustrated and discouraged. But whether it's the happiness or the sadness, the kids are there to savor the moment. They want to make sure that they really feel what it's like to be at Koshien. So that might be a good way to remember it. But same with baseball players or any soccer players, basketball players. When players play for the last time, their retirement game, like Ichiro, for example, his last game, he was waving goodbye to all of his fans, and everybody was clapping for Ichiro. And I'm sure when Ichiro was saying goodbye to all of his fans in the stadium, he was savoring the moment. When people were cheering him, he was making sure that he remembers that moment because he knows that moment will never come again. Savoring moments. All right. So a good expression to know whether it's food or an experience, you are slowly enjoying the process. Next one, treat like something. I got my cat Goro right here. He's going to be 12 years old in a couple of days, but he is still a big, healthy, fun, and active cat. Anyway, treat like something is another way of saying to act towards someone or something in a certain way, right? It's how you behave or how you interact with someone or something, okay? So treat like something, 何々のように扱う。これはそこまで難しいものではないと思うのですが、誰かに対して何かに対して自分の態度、自分の振る舞い方を表すのがtreat like something の意味合いになります。So Goro, of course, Goro is a cat, but I treat Goro like my friend. We do a lot of things that I feel like I do with my friends. We play with each other. Sometimes I treat Goro like a dog. I'll throw something, he'll go and catch it. So me and Goro have like a buddy type of relationship. I treat Goro or I treat my cat like a friend. I act like a friend to Goro. And this is probably true with a lot of people, but moms and dads treating their older kids like little kids, right? And I hear this all the time, is that when you become a parent, no matter how old your kids become, even when your kids are in their 20s or 30s or even in their 40s, to the parents, they're still your kids and they still have memories of you being a little baby. So sometimes parents will treat their kids like a child, even though they are grown adults, right? English. So learning English can be challenging. You have your good days, you have your bad days. Some days you can recall a lot of words that you studied, and some days you can't remember any words. Some days you try to speak English and no words come out. You are struggling. But some days you speak English and the words come out very smoothly. Now, you can treat English like a school subject, but once you become an adult, you realize that learning English is fun. It's not a school subject. It's not about being good or being bad. Learning English is about making progress and enjoying the process along the way. So I like to think English as an adventure. I treat English or learning a foreign language like an adventure. Sometimes it's going to be good. Sometimes it's not going to be so good. You're going to have some challenges you're going to face. You're going to overcome those challenges. You're going to feel good. And then there's going to be another challenge ahead of you. So when you can treat English like an adventure, it becomes fun. And hopefully you guys treat English like an adventure as well. Okay. And last one, I just put this in here because it was in the Hapa School sentence. I treat my first like my last and my last like my first. So a lot of you might think like, what does this mean? So this is actually a lyric from one of my favorite rappers. His name is Jay-Z. これ実は歌詞からね、そのまんま取った、一言なのですが、自分の中の名言として書き残しているものでもあったので、今回のコースで紹介しました。これパッと見たときにね、多分よくわかんないと思うんですよね。You gotta think about this for a second. So I treat my last or my first like my last and my last like my first. ここの first last は何に当たっているのか。So I want you to think about first as like your first experience, first time experiencing something, right? So try to remember the first time you went abroad. 初めて海外に行った時、初めて海外に行って日本以外の違う国に行って飛行場出て日本じゃないところを見た時のあの感動とか、うわーこんなに違うんだっていう初めて経験する時のあの感情、気持ちっていうのは、it's very powerful. you don't forget those moments because anytime you experience something for the first time, it's amazing. It's so cool, isn't it? But when you experience it many times, 初めてロサンゼルスに行った時と、ロサンゼルス10回目に行った時の感じ方って多分違うと思うんですよね。When you go LA for the 10th time, 最初に行った時のあの感動っていうのは、やっぱりどうしてもなくなってってしまう。It goes away. It's kind of natural. It's human nature, right? But what this is saying is, I treat my first experience like it's my last. 初めての経験を最後のように、最後の経験のように私は扱う。ね。まあ、日本語のね、四字熟語で一期一会っていうね、四字熟語がありますが、誰かと会ったとき、もうこれ会うのが最後かもしれないっていうふうに、私は一つ一つの経験を扱うみたいな感じになり、I treat my last experience like my first. ね。まあ、最後の経験なのか、よくある経験、何度も何度も経験していること、また起こるんだろうなっていう考え方を持って、その接するのではなく、何回も起きていることっていうのは、これが初めてなんだっていうマインドセットを持って経験するようにしているっていうね、なんか心に響いた歌詞だったんですよ。まあ多分ね、これ考えれば考えるほどちょっと深いね、ところがあると思うのですが、I treat my first experience like my last experience and my last experience like my first experience というふうに、it was one of my favorite quotes, so I decided to put it in there. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Next one is our last one for today. To check in on someone or something. Now, when you check in on someone, it simply means you are seeing how someone is doing. Okay. Especially you are making sure that they are okay. You might call them, you might text them, you might send them a message, or you might visit them in person. But you're just making sure that they are okay. It doesn't mean that they are sick. They can be sick, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are sick. You're just contacting them to make sure that they are okay. ね、まあこれ日本語にすると確認をするになるのですが、もうちょっと具体的に言うと、元気であるか確認する。安全であるか確認する。助けが必要か確認する。まあ、その人の安否を確認するという意味で、check in on が使われます。Okay? So let's say that you have a grandma that's older, that's living by herself. So, as you know, you just want to make sure that your grandma is doing okay. So, you go over to your grandma's house to check in on her. See how she's doing. Hey, grandma, how are you? Are you doing okay? Oh, good, good. というふうに、まあ、ただね、様子を伺いに会いに行くっていうのもあるかもしれないし、maybe your grandma is sick. So you go and check in on her to make sure she's okay. ね、ちょっと体が弱っていて、病気を抱えているかもしれない。そういった意味で check in on を使うこともできます。Let's text Kevin and check in on him. ここもね、メッセージね、テキストを送って、ケビンの様子をね、ケビンが元気か確認しましょう。The manager checked in on the progress of the project. なので、ここでは人だけではなく、ね、プログレスのね、プログレスではないですね。プロジェクトの進捗を確認する。マネージャーがプロジェクトの進捗を確認しましたの意味で使うこともできます。Alright, guys. So that is it. Hopefully, all of these 8 expressions made sense to you guys. But if you guys have any questions, please ask your questions in the chat. I will find your questions and do my best to answer them. All right, so let's start with the first one. リエさん、significantly と extremely はニュアンスの違いはありますか？ありますね。so extremely は very なんですよ。very のより強調した。例えば、今日はとても暑いですっていう場合は、today is very hot. very をより強調したい場合は、today is extremely hot になるわけですね。 だけど、today is significantly hot ということはできないんですね。significantly っていうのは、変化っていうのが大きなポイントになります。ね、著しい変化、もしくは重要な変化があること。なので、today is significantly hot っていう場合は、これは比較をしないといけないんですね。Today is significantly hotter than yesterday. 昨日と比べて今日は暑い。ね。もうこの変化、この温度の差が、もう例えば15度以上だった場合、昨日は、例えば10度だったのに、今日は25度。Today is significantly hotter than yesterday というふうに言うことができます。Alright? So, extremely はただ very とか really をより強調した言い方なのですが、significantly はこの変化を強調する意味として使われます。Alright. LEDK これスライドに書いてありました。Maybe I may have missed it right there. LDK ね。はいはいはいはい。Sorry. 豊子さん、これ日本の、LDK。LDK ですよね。リビング、ダイニング、キッチンですよね。確か。LDK ですね。アメリカではね、LDK 使わないのですが、ちょっと皆さんのね、ちょっと感覚に合わせるために、2LDK、LDK で多分合っていると思うのですが、リビング、ダイニング、キッチンっていう、の略だと思います。僕ちょっと間違ってたらすいませんが、もし間違っていたら、コメントで、訂正してください。next one. 中林さん、symbolic と iconic のニュアンスの違いを教えてください。ね、ここいい質問ですね。symbolic っていうのは、symbol。ね、これはだからここの何かを symbol する、代表するを意味するので、これはただ何かが有名っていうことではなく、ここはやっぱ何かを代表するとか、何かのシンボルであるっていうことを表すんですね。なので、まあ、例えばそうですね。アメリカでは、American Bald Eagle、イーグル、イーグル、イーグル、EAGLE。これは鳥、ね、大きな鳥ですよね。鳥なのですが、an eagle is symbolic of freedom というふうに自由を象徴する意味として使われるんですね。で、ここでは is iconic とは使わないんですね。iconic は、まあ、ただみんなが知っている、広く知れ渡っている、ね、例えばキャラクターであったり、ね、例えば東京タワーであったり、そういった意味でみんなが知っているもの。だけど、そこでより、これは何かを代表する、ここにはより深い意味を持っているっていうのを表すときに、symbolic という表現が使われます。Okay? So, it's similar, but a little bit different. Symbolic has the word symbol in it, meaning that something that you see or a person symbolizes something. Okay? Mayumi-san, fall into burnout. We do not say fall into burnout. Typically, you want to stick with experience or feel or to suffer burnout. Okay? Representative と iconic は違う意味でしょうか？ representative は、まあ一つはちょっと硬い感じがしますよね。when you're talking about representative. I wouldn't really use the word representative. It represents っていう方言の方がもうちょっと柔らかい感じがするのですが、iconic の方がなんか represent これもね、その言葉自体を見ると何かを代表する意味を持ちますよね。で、これは例えば正式に何かを代表するっていう意味を持つこともありますし、まあ、もしかしたらね、有名になって代表するっていう意味もあるかもしれないのですが、when something represents something, it just means that it stands for ね、stands for っていう言葉もありますよね。これも多分ハーパースクールで出てきたと思うのですが、Yeah, iconic is a combination of being very popular, very well known, but it happens kind of organically. And represent is something that sometimes, you know, like a company or like a country might assign it for it to represent. まあでもただ、感覚的には representative はちょっと硬い感じがしますので、多分一般的な日常会話では iconic の方がいいと思いますね。Treat my first like my last. It's like a tongue twister. It is kind of like a tongue twister. Correct me if I'm wrong regarding creep into. Negative things creep into me and positive and negative things dawn on me. Am I right? Are you talking about the difference between creep into and dawn on someone? Just wanted to make sure, but I'll try to do my best to answer with this question here. Creep into, negative things creep into me. Positive and negative things dawn on me. Yeah, so right here, positive and negative things dawn on me. Things, things again, a little bit general here. Negative things, it doesn't have to be negative when it creeps into you. It's usually negative, like negative thoughts creep into you. But positive thoughts can creep into you, I guess. But dawn on is more of like a realization, right? It's something that you slowly realize happening. So you slowly realize what is happening. You slowly realize that you forgot your keys at home. You're starting to realize that something is happening in front of you. So it's not about positive or negative. I guess creep into has more of a connotation of something being negative, but it's not necessarily always negative. I don't know if the question was about being positive or negative, but hopefully that answered your question right there. Shizuka-san, can I use check out in place of check in on? You can use check out as well. I think this was one of those expressions that came up in the Hapa Eikaiwa podcast not too long ago. You could go check out to your grandma, but check out is more general. You are checking out has a lot of different meanings. You could go check out a restaurant. You could go check out your friend to make sure he is okay. You could go check out a new what is it? You could go, check out something online. So checkout is very general in terms of like looking at something. Check in on is very specific to seeing how somebody is doing. And checkout has a meaning of that, but check in on is very specific to that meaning. Okay. Naoki-san, can we say I tasted the beautiful sunset instead of I savored the beautiful? Yeah, that would be a little weird to say tasted. 味わうね。そのまんま直訳すると tasted になるのですが、言わないですね。英語ではね。So I would stay away from the word taste right here and stick with savor instead of taste. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, creep into and dawn on. Yeah. So the difference, hopefully you got it. But yeah, creep into is something happening without you noticing. And dawn on is you start to slowly realize something. So again, very small difference in nuance right there, but with dawn on, the word realize is very, very important. You are realizing something versus creep into is it's slowly but surely happening versus realizing. I know, very 細かなね、ニュアンスの違いですが、that's what it is right there. Any other questions, guys? Are we good for today? All right. Maybe some of you guys have a couple more questions, but I just want to give you guys a couple updates. So for this particular winter session, we got some New dates. So the 勉強会、ね、通常勉強会はウィーク8が、終わった後、通常であれば来週の土曜日に開催されるのですが、すいません。ちょっと私の、個人的なスケジュールで、来週の、土曜日午前中に開催できないので、勉強会は今週の土曜日、午前7時から、8時の1時間となります。まあ、この勉強会は、ハッパースクール冬学期の最終オンラインセミナーみたいなものになりますので、最初の30分間は皆さんの質問にお答えする。で、これは事前に皆さんの質問をね、募集していますので、それをパワーポイント式でシェアをして、その Q&A 式で答えていく。そして後半の30分は、次回ですね、春学期の、コースについてのご紹介となりますので、次回のね、コースにご興味のある方は、土曜日午前7時からの、勉強会で、お話ししますので、ぜひご参加ください。で、勉強会のね、ズームチャットでは、通常人数が多いので、こういうふうにね、ちょっとチャット形式で皆さんの質問に直接お答えできないので、もしね、私に直接質問されたい方は、来週のライブレッスンでお願いします。はい。で、相談室が来週行われます。最終は相談室とズームミートアップが行われますが、私の相談室は、月曜日、火曜日と金曜日のすいません、午後9時半から10時半、9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday。多分皆さんの方にもお知らせが届くかと思いますが、来週月曜日、火曜日と金曜日、9時半から10時半となります。すいません。全部午後の時間帯となります。来週ちょっとうちでね、いろんな工事というか、床を全部変えてもらうので、日本の午前中はめちゃくちゃ多分うるさいと思うんですよ。なので、すいません、相談室ですが、工事のね、床を全部変える人たちが来る前の午前中の時間帯に行う予定なので、夜の9時半から10時半となります。そして、来週の金曜日7時から8時、ライブレッスンを行う予定です。Alright. Let's see. Yamanaka. Day 1の後半 The constant creep of work into our personal lives can increase our stress and undermine our happiness. の creep は名詞ですが、The constant creep. そうですね。ここは、そういうことになりますね。The constant creep of work. ここは名詞になりますね。はい。そういうことです。Toyoko-san, yes, it is tomorrow, Saturday at 7 a.m. It is tomorrow, right? Yes, it should be tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow at 7 a.m. All right. Well, thank you guys very much. I hope that you guys enjoyed the live lesson today. And we got the Benkyokai tomorrow at 7 o'clock. So hopefully I'll see you guys then. You guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys again very, very soon. Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.